Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 63 of Wise Wednesdays with RK. My name is Rukaya Khan. I come from the world of words, and to tell stories is something that I've always enjoyed. Now, today, my guest, my subject expert is Mona Tavassoli, and I hope I got that right, Mona. She's because I've always called her Mona, so yes, apologies. Now, who is this person that I have managed to bring to you? This is someone I met for the first time in 2015, a mom to be in that moment, and also someone who was building on an idea that has now become Mompreneurs Worldwide, a global platform founded on the vision that empowered mothers raise empowered leaders. Someone I have a whole lot of respect for, someone who is fascinating in the way she is. She walks her talk. And when I say she means business, yes, she does. And she's going to show you and walk you through so many different things that are going to add value to your world and to the work life balance that moms kind of work towards. Let's just put it that way. So, without further ado, I bring to you Mona.
Hello, Rukaya. Thank you so much. Super excited to be here.
Thank you. I hope I got the surname right. And
You
apologies.
said it perfectly.
Thank you. So, when we got into conversation, and I've been like waiting for weeks altogether to have you on the show, um, I asked you what would you like to speak on, and you said invest in your energy for higher productivity. What does that mean to you?
Absolutely. And everything that I'm going to share today with you, Rukaya, and with your audience is my personal experience as a mother, as an entrepreneur. And the real shift happened for me when I became aware of my own energy. So, going back to 2009, 2008, I was a single person. I was working in corporate. I was having a very balanced, I was enjoying my life, a very balanced life. And then between 2000, between 2009 to 2011, I had three roles of wife, entrepreneur, and a mother. And all of a sudden, everything changed. That balance that I had, going to work and having my own time for myself, doing the things that I loved. I was always grateful for all the blessings, being a wife, being a mother, being an entrepreneur. These are all the things that I was grateful for. But at the same time, having all of these roles really changed my life. So, it took me some time to find that harmony in my life, and everything that I talk about is about energy and the shift that happened for me when I became aware of my own energy.
Okay, thank you. And so, if I were to ask you, who is Mona? Who is she, Mona?
That's a tough question, Rokaya. Nobody has asked me that before, so that it's becoming more spiritual, as than I thought. So I see myself as a person who is on planet Earth to grow and experience. So every experience that I have in this world is whether as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a wife. These are all the roles that we have. But at the end of it, it's I look at it as Project Mona. Who is Mona? What am I doing here? So everything that I have in my life is a way for me to grow and a way to learn. So I'm the founder of Mompreneurs Worldwide. It's a community for mom entrepreneurs around the world. We pivoted our business 2018 when I moved from Dubai to Vancouver. So that is the main role that I have in the business world, and that's something that people know me of. So, founder of Mompreneurs Worldwide, and I love our community of mompreneurs, and I'm super honored to have you as part of that community as well. I have two boys, as you mentioned. So Ryan is 10, and Darian is 6, and we live in Vancouver, BC.
Beautiful. So that's the role you play as a mom, as a mompreneur, as someone who has a business and who's been supporting women, moms worldwide, quite literally. It's a beautiful community that you have, and I am truly, truly honored to be part of it. A sense of belonging that I feel. So we have okay. So guys who are watching, thank you for tuning in into the conversation. Let us know where you're watching from so that we can acknowledge you for the time that you're giving us, because of all the things in the world, and Muna's going to be talking about energy. So of all the things in the world, time is this format of energy that you can never give back to anybody. I mean, it's an investment that you're making. So there's trust that you're putting into this conversation. And I'm truly, truly grateful and honored to have you on the show with us in conversation with Mona. So beautiful. Ellie says Mona is light. Yes, yes, she definitely is. And we've got Srikant watching as well. So do let us know who's watching and from where. She says, sending love from Dubai. Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Thank you, ladies.
Lovely. So tell me, we are talking about investing your energy in yourself, right? What does investing your energy in yourself mean to you?
The first step, okay, is to become aware of our own energy at any given moment. So one of the trainings that we have, so if there anybody from the tribe watching, they know that we always talk about the pyramid of energy, and it has four layers of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And we talk about all of these details. I mean, if it's a full training, but we can maybe talk about a few points for each of these layers. So our physical energy is the easiest to understand, is the one that we can see with our eyes, the changes. Usually it's what we eat, is the how much water we have during the day, how much sleep we take, like all of the things that help us to invest in our physical energy. And a lot of times people are usually focused on that physical energy only. So that's like fitness. We all want to be fit, we all want to look a certain way, but there we don't sometimes look at it from the energy aspect of it, not just how we look, but like what brings us that energy. The emotional energy is all the things that is the conversation that we have in our own head, is the emotions that we feel, is our relationship with others, with our partners, with our community, with our parents, with our kids, like all of the emotions that we feel throughout the day because of the things that happen to us. Our mental energy is how focused we are and how much we invest in our own mental energy, from the podcast that we listen to, the conversations that we join, the books that we read, like, and how much of that ability to be able to focus, which is one of the things that has changed, especially in the past 10 years because of social media. Are we able to sit down and focus on the things that matter to us the most, focusing on our mental energy? And the spiritual energy really doesn't have anything to do with our religion. It is more of knowing that there's something bigger than us, and we can call that anything depending on your faith or the things that you believe in, or even it's something like legacy that we want to leave behind. I think something that we can all agree is that we are on planet Earth for a limited time. So we know that something, this is a fact, this is something that nobody can argue. We all die at some point, and it's not to be sad about it, but we know, just reminding ourselves that that's a fact. The legacy that we're leaving behind, the impact that we have in this world. And sometimes the spiritual energy is also being able to surrender. So we are not always able to change our external world. There are moments in our life that we just need to surrender. So becoming aware of our own energy, and then using the pyramid of energy to raise our vibration, to raise our energy at any given moment, is the topic that we're going to talk about today.
Brilliant. So raising your vibration. And what about for those who don't even have the awareness that they have a vibration? You know, what about people who are going on autopilot, going through life in autopilot?
And that happens a lot. So most people, like even people who are aware of it, there are times that you feel that, okay, things are just happening without us being really present. So all the books from Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, the mindfulness, like these are all huge topics. It seems simple, but because it's not happening, it's so easy to get distracted. That's why it becomes such an important topic. So being able to awareness, for any to make change happen, awareness is the first step, and that awareness happens by joining talks like this, for example, reading the books like that there are many books available, doing meditations. So just becoming aware of, okay, where do I stand now and how do I want my energy to be? That is the first step to make change happen.
Beautiful. Simona, you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur, you're a wife, so many roles that you play, you're a friend, a sister. So when it comes to all the roles that we play as moms, as mompreneurs, um, how do you kind of get to that making time for yourself? Because a lot of times we feel the sense of, am I being selfish if I'm focusing on myself? You know, because we're taught to sacrifice, we're taught to put the family first, we're taught to be everything else except, self-centered. Uh, unfortunately, that's how some of us see as self care, as being self centered. So, how do you kind of break through that? Or did you even have to break through that?
Absolutely, because when my first son Ryan was born, I had really a hard time finding that balance. It was difficult to focus on myself. As I said, a huge change happened when I became a mother, and at the beginning, I thought that okay, I probably have to give up all of my dreams, everything that I hope for myself. You know, these are the things that people usually don't talk about. That when you sometimes feel that am I a bad mother thinking about myself, am I a bad mother wanting to have my own, following my own dreams. And again, another shift happened when I realized that okay, I want to be the role model for my sons. I want them to follow their dreams as well, and I want to be a happy mom. And happy mom, does it mean that for everyone they need to work? Absolutely not. But having that awareness at what makes me happy. I know also that especially in the Western world, a lot of moms actually want to be stay-at-home moms, but they don't have that option. So knowing that, okay, what it is that I want and having that freedom of choice. If I want to work, I have the ability to work. If I want to be a stay-at-home mom, I have the ability to do that. If a dad wants to be a stay-at-home dad and the family can do that. So just having that freedom of choice is the most important thing. And for me, becoming aware of my energy. Okay, when I'm around my kids, how is my energy? Am I tired? Am I burned out? Am I like not focused, distracted? What are the things I can do for myself in order to be a better person for people around me? So one of the things that I always say is that our loved ones deserve the best version of us. So our loved ones, our employees, our employers, our partners, our kids, they all deserve to have the best version of us. It's my responsibility as Mona to give them that best version. And if that means that, and then it is my awareness to know how can I give that? How can I be at my best? Is it going to the gym? Is it dancing? Is it boxing? Is it yoga? Is it meditation? For each person is different. So knowing that, okay, we talked about the pyramid of energy. How can I make sure that my vibration is high? How can I make sure that my energy is high? So people who are around me, they have the best version of me. So I think that sentence of my loved ones, my company, my everything, like all of my projects, my dreams deserve the best version of Mona, and it's my responsibility to give them that best version.
Hmm. And as you say, all my projects, I think the biggest project that anybody could ever have is themselves, right? And if we began to see ourselves as one of our projects, one of the projects in our own life, then I think somehow the conversation then begins to shift.
And it's a work in progress project,
Exactly.
no matter what, regardless of how many years of experience you have and how many classes and coaches you had. It's a work in progress because that's what growth is all about. You're always learning. Definitely, we are a lot wiser, more mature. We are, I would say we have learned a lot more since, let's say, compared to 10 years ago, but it's always a work in progress. So there's no end to it for sure.
True that, true that. And I think the reason I connected with you that day, or the first time I met you, was because there you were, um, beautifully pregnant, and dreaming of a company, and dreaming of a project where you wanted to help other mothers. It wasn't just about you, and that was the beauty, and that was the authenticity with which this idea came, and it has grown so beautifully. And for me, when I started my journey as a writer, it was at having that awareness that there were these two people who are always going to look up to me. Um, Out of example, they're going to look up to their mom and say, okay, this is how a woman can carry herself. This is how she can take care of home. She can take care of herself. She can do something for herself. And that's where that intention to do a little more with the time and skill set I had was came about. And alhamdulillah, this is where I am today. So grateful.
And you have an amazing journey as well, okay? I've been following your journey, and I'm really proud of, you're truly an inspiration. The talks that you have, the impact that you have, and it's truly inspirational.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, we're talking about raising the vibration. Tell us a little about that, and let's look at the different layers of it.
Absolutely. I usually have a presentation when I share this so people can actually see it visually, but I'm going to explain it and hopefully it makes sense as well. So let's start with two quotes that I have for you. And let me read the quotes for you. One of them is Nikola Tesla, because sometimes it's hard to understand the things that we don't see. And I am a very logical person. I don't have any psychic powers. There's nothing that I can see beyond the five senses that we have. And around us, there are people who have those psychic powers. I'm not one of those. So when I talk about energy, it's really a personal experience. And I try to make sense of it. I'm even taking a psychology course to even understand it better, consciousness, how our mind works, and then connecting all the dots together. It's a fascinating world when we become aware of how we create our world, and it comes into different words of like manifestation, or the law of attraction, or the consciousness. Like there are a lot of words that sometimes it feels is woo woo and they don't make sense, but then you learn more in psychology of how our brain works, how our consciousness works, and it starts making sense. So Nikola Tesla is one of the people that I personally and truly respect. And he says, if you want to find the secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Einstein, Albert Einstein, another person that we all respect, says everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So when we go into the worlds of physics, quantum physics, psychology, like then you connect the spirituality, which I'm personally very interested in. You connect the dots, and a lot of things start making sense. And there's another saying that says you can't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So this is, for me, is a very important sentence. Like, who am I in my core? What is the vibration, that what is the frequency that I'm vibrating at? And all of the emotions, usually, as I said, there's a visual to it. So if we are trapped into guilt, shame, fear, the lower frequencies. So whether we are worrying about the future, when we worry about something, it means that we are living in the future. When we are ashamed of something, it means that when we have that guilt, it means that we're living in the past. So these are all very low frequency emotions that we have. So we are vibrating at that emotion. And then, yes, we want love, we want abundance, we want joy, but our own vibration, our own feeling is at a lower frequency. And one of the things that I always become aware of, especially in my business, is that what type of energy am I bringing to this world when I'm creating, when I am manifesting? Is it hustling? Is it like stress? Is it burnout? And I don't want that. So I become very, very conscious of, yes, I have all of these big goals, I have all of these big dreams, but at the same time, who I am, something that I see in the world of entrepreneurship, a lot of time we compromise on our energy, we compromise on our well-being, health, relationship, other values in order to have that external success. For me was, okay, let's identify what success means to me. That internal success, that for me is having that joy, peace of mind, serenity, being able to be in the present moment. These are all the things that matter to me. And again, the first step is just becoming aware of, where am I at? What am I like? Am I feeling guilt and shame and fear and worry all the time? Or am I in love, vibrating love, joy, peace? And one of the middle ones that I would say, like, is the lowest that we can try to be at, is acceptance. There are times that we can't be always happy and be always joyful and be always like at peace. There things happen. I mean, we're experiencing this world, a world of the things that we do emotionally feel. We become sad. There's nothing wrong with sadness, but accepting that situation, there's nothing that I can do about it, so at least I'm going to accept it, and becoming aware of our energy at that moment. So this is the first step of every single moment, knowing that, where am I at, and how can I help myself through the energy pyramid of energy, investing in each of these layers to raise my vibration and my frequency.
Great. So, what is the base? Yes, I am from the tribe. I know this one, but for the listeners who are new to this conversation and the pyramid of energy, what is the base of the pyramid?
So that's our physical energy. That is the foundation of our energy. If we don't sleep well, All the new moms, they can relate to that. When you're not sleeping well, it's really difficult to function. Like the next day, I have had days of, I say this is a zombie, Mona. I feel like zombies, Yeah, it's just like the very simple sleep, the luxury for those of you who have the luxury of sleeping 8 or 9 hours a day without any interruption. That, when you sleep, you feel like the next day you're energized. So, this is our foundation. When you're eating, not just for a diet, like I'm cutting carb and I'm cutting sugar because I want to look better, but no, I want to invest in my energy. So, the things that I'm eating, and I'm personally now experiencing intuitive eating, because I do believe that our body has the wisdom to choose the food that is good for us. And it's a journey. Like I am in the middle of the journey, and I will definitely journal it and share my experience at another time about intuitive eating. But conscious eating, this is not about just eating healthy, but eating the things that help us to raise our energy. How much water we have during the day, water makes a huge difference as well. And these are all the basic things. The breathing, that's the combination of a spiritual as well as a physical energy. But when we are breathing deeply and doing the breathing exercises, these all help with our physical energy. Vancouver in the last 3 days has experienced extreme heat. So we usually, like, the highest the temperature goes is 26, 27. So most houses don't have AC because they don't even need AC. But in the last 3 days, we even reached 41 degree, which has never happened before. And the heat itself, like, this is the physical thing that we're experiencing. The heat, you can feel that then you can't do anything else. It stops you, like energy, your energy becomes lower and lower. So these are all part of the physical energy, things that happen to us. Health, all the health issues that we have, these are all the basic, like the foundation of our energy, taking care of ourselves and our energy. That is the base layer.
Hmm. and and I like what you said about things that are happening to you and having that awareness. Something as simple as keeping yourself hydrated, intuitive eating. I am very curious about that because very recently I went on a little journey of mind body transformation myself. And what I've begun to understand is you have, like, earlier I'd have this craving for comfort food or reaching out for something that might be a little more maybe sugary, more of starch, more of things that I'm familiar with. Now the craving is very different. It's more
Mm.
like, okay, I want something that works for me. My body tells me that, okay, there's water that I want. There's probably fruit that I'm reaching out for. There's my detox drink that I'm really looking forward to in the morning, because somewhere there's this understanding that this is good for me, or there's evidence to show that this has been good for me. So I don't find myself yo-yoing back to old habits, because the evidence in of benefits that I've seen in 3 months have overpowered everything and anything that I have been doing for the last 48 years. So yeah, 45 years. I forgot how old I am. All right.
Absolutely. Maybe we can have another session about intuitive eating another time. But I'm just gonna share a very small thing that happened, which for me, as I said, we're here to grow and we're here to learn. So I really wanted to try the intuitive eating. I didn't at some point I didn't like restrictions. I didn't like having that feeling, even unconsciously, when I'm having a candy, that I'm having, like, labeling food as good or as bad. So with the intuitive eating, you eat whatever it is that you want, how much of it that you want, and then you experience how you feel afterwards as well. So it's the combination of, okay, what it is that I want now, and the awareness of how am I feeling. Sorry,
Right.
after having that food, and then you trust your body to choose what is best for you. So definitely we can have another session about intuitive eating when I'm done
Well,
with the journey.
welcome, welcome. So after the physical, I think if I remember correctly, is the emotional layer,
It is.
right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And that's the trickiest. That's the one that I would say is also the hardest to manage, because it's not always about us. And that takes, for me at least, it takes the most to practice. And there are a lot of times that we feel we failed. And then you stand up again and you experience it again, and you choose to behave differently the next time. So it takes longer, I would say. Like with the physical energy, it's kind of easy to understand. It's not always easy to practice, but we all know that we need to exercise, right? We all know that like having 10,000 steps a day is a recommended. We all know that, okay, we need to have 8 glasses of water per day. It's much easier to understand. And then whether we do it or not, that's a different thing, but we understand it. With emotional, it's tricky because you're having a conversation with someone and it's not type of conversation that you had before, and you feel all of a sudden your energy has drained, and then you
Yeah.
have to take a step back and you need to do journaling, and you need to do a lot of reflection to understand what happened, what triggered me, why did I feel that way. And there are a lot of things with the emotional energy, from comparison, which with social media it happens a lot more, whether we're comparing our life to others, judging others, getting judged. Especially as mothers, we always have that, like one of the challenges that we have is that others are judging me. And I heard that a lot from our community, that consciously or unconsciously you're getting judged, breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, working, not working, breastfeeding in public or not. Like there are a lot of things with parents, and then the kids behave a certain way, we judge the mother and the parents. There are a lot of things with the emotional energy, the judgment, also the conversation that we have in our own head, that self-talk, like the emotions that we feel after we have that conversation with ourselves. Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it, am I punishing myself for something? So it's our relationship with other people. And it takes, as I said, it's the trickiest and it takes the longest. Like you might be feeling the best in the world and all of a sudden you get a bad news,
Hmm.
right? You feel that your energy is drained, and the opposite, like you're not feeling, you're feeling okay, and then you hear very good news, right? Your energy all of a sudden is very, very high. So the change happens in a matter of seconds by having a conversation with someone or hearing a news. And as I said, it takes much longer to master as well. And I think that's definitely one of those things that is a work in progress for sure. So, our emotional energy, I would say that we need to be much kinder to ourselves when we are mastering the emotional energy. The emotional intelligence is a huge topic. And as we grow up and as we are, we learn and we become wiser and we manage our emotions much better as well. A 2-year old might be, making a fuss about a toy. And as a like 30, 40, 50-year old, we say, okay, that doesn't matter at all. At 30-year olds, we might make a big deal of certain things that don't matter. At 40, the same thing. As we grow, and we learn and we become wiser with the emotional energy.
Yes, we do. And I think the one emotion that I really would like to bring to the table and you haven't touched upon is anger.
Mm.
Because as moms, we sometimes, as I said, beat ourselves down. We feel angry about certain things. It could be anger that we feel for ourselves, or it could be anger we feel for the people around us, where we feel we're not supported or we expect. So, how do you kind of get out of that tangle?
Believe it or not, anger is actually a higher frequency than shame and guilt and other frequencies. So anger is not a very low vibrating frequency energy, because at least you're feeling something, right? You sometimes, I would say, you get to the point that you stop feeling. You have you have dealt with so many things that you just stop feeling. You shut down all of your emotions, or you're trapped in. At least with anger, it's not a super bad stage to be at, because you're still feeling something and you still want to change something. That desire to make change happen with anger. We all get angry. When I am angry myself, I know that I haven't taken care of myself properly. So let's say it's a cup. So when I say literally your cup is full, so I know that when I'm angry, it means that my cup is full. So yes, we might get frustrated, we might might get upset about different things. When I reach anger, it means that my either the situation was really bad, that it filled my cup all of a sudden with one news, or I haven't been taking care of myself properly, so my cup gets full very, very soon with one incident. So for me, anger is a sign that I need to take care of myself in a better way. Journaling helps a lot with that. So when we get angry, just not doing anything, taking a step back, writing it down. okay, what are the emotions that I'm feeling now? That self reflection, I would say, is one of the most important things that help us to manage all of these situations. And shifting the one of the things that really helped me, okay, in my life was when I shift my focus from external world and what others are doing, especially in 2015. A lot of people know my story already. It was a chaos. Like my life was a true chaos. I felt that with my second son, and I feel that a lot of times that happens with mothers with the second child, because your life is out of balance. You manage to have some kind of a balance, and then the second child is there, and then all of a sudden you lose balance again, and it's harder to maintain it sometimes, for not for everyone, but that was my experience. And 2015 was a very very difficult year for me. I felt that I was losing everything. And one simple thing that really helped me was shifting the focus from trying to fix everybody else and all the external situations to, exactly as we talked about, Project Mana, to myself. What do I want? Like, what makes me happy? How can I raise my own energy? And I think that was my main journey of energy, started in 2015 when I became aware of this. How can I make sure that Mona is doing good? And then when I invested in my own energy, I would say that now, using the language of vibration, when I was vibrating at a higher frequency, everything else around me started shifting as well, without using that force, without being, trying to control everything. For the listeners, one, I would say the main takeaway of this talk will be, no matter what it is that is happening in your external world, all the chaos that we all feel, shift your focus from the external, trying to fix those, to internal, getting to know yourself. What are the things that help you to raise your energy, and focus on those for the next 6 months, and you'll start seeing the shift that will happen in the external world as well.
Brilliant. I like that. No matter what is happening in your world, shift the focus internally. And Shrikant beautifully says, from resisting to embracing. So I love that. Thank you, Shrikant. Valuable.
Absolutely.
So instead of resisting what's going on outside of you and even within you, like I said, because sometimes we're filled with the guilt that we are focusing on ourselves, and the children are there, and you need to focus on yourself. So instead of resisting that need for self care and self mastery, what if you could embrace it? Beautifully said, Srikant.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we will still feel all of these emotions. So, like, even when we are aware of it, we get frustrated, things that happen, but when you start looking at your energy as a precious thing that you have. So, something, again, another visual that we usually have is that we all chase time. What time is it? We have a watch, we have a clock, like we try to do time management. I always say, okay, I grant everyone, and I'm going to grant all of your audience as well, 24 energy bars. So exactly like 24 hours that we have 24 energy bars on a daily basis. And it's our job to take care of these precious energy bars that we have. So then when somebody sends you our mind wants to be busy. Like, our mind is very tricky as well. It's really interesting to understand. Our mind wants to be busy. Like, for the existence of our mind, it needs to be busy. When we calm our mind still, like, we create drama, we create things that are not that important. Like, we create that for our mind to be busy. When you receive a message from someone that you feel, okay, this can start a drama, and you choose not to reply, you choose not to participate, you choose not to engage in that conversation, not because you're weak, not because you can't, because you respect your own energy, and you don't want to get engaged in something that will bring your own energy lower. So you become a lot more mindful in, okay, what are the conversations, with whom do I have the arguments, which ones do I participate in. You choose your battles more carefully, basically. And that is our emotional energy. Again, be kind to yourself, because that takes longer to master.
Super. So yes, it's almost as though you're taking my words. The before I could even say it, choose your battles wisely. There she goes, and I think that's what they say about great minds, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
we've covered physical, we've covered emotional, and I think up next is mental
Yes.
energies. Yes.
So our mental energy is, I would say, again, it's easier to understand. and it's the way we take care of our mind, basically. So most people that we are surrounded with, a lot of times, especially entrepreneurs, you're always learning something new, you're always growing, so you're investing in your mental energy. We talked about podcasts that you listen to, we talked about books that we read, the conversations that we join, like investing in our mental energy to grow. And at the same time, the ability to be able to focus, so not get distracted very quickly. So again, when we are reading the article, how are we reading it? Are we able to read an article, especially these days? Like, it's interesting that in a lot of websites, like, they write 2 minutes read or 3 minutes read, as if we can't, like, it's harder to read the longer articles as well. So our attention span, like, all of these are the things that are our mental energy and taking care of our mental energy. And as time passes, like, even if you're not having a business, or you feel that you're not investing a lot in your mental energy, learning a new instrument, learning a new language, like, all of these will help with our mental energy as well. And these are very, like, daily practices, things that you enjoy. So for everyone, again, the tip could be, if you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly learning, for sure. But even if you're not, try to add something new to your life. And I feel that with our mental energy, even like traveling or things like that also helps, because you're always learning something new, you're always trying to figure out something new, whether it's looking at the map, trying to find a new place, like, all of the things help with our mental energy.
Absolutely. And we have a question. We have a question from Vidya. She says, what about people who make us feel guilty by reminding us of what we have done and gone by?
A very good question, because we can change other people. So the first thing I would say is that, instead of feeling that yes, they are doing that, we choose to feel a certain way as well, right? So if somebody, it depends on who that person is as well. Like, if it's someone that I could personally, again suggesting, I'm just, all of these are my personal experiences. If it's a friend that I feel is not helping on my growth, with my growth journey, I might not be in touch with that person a lot. But sometimes there are parents, sometimes there are partners, sometimes there are people that we don't have a choice but being with their company. So that's a trickier one. And the most important thing is that, if there was a example that somebody else shared, that I'm going to share some with you as well. If someone comes and tells you that your skin color is orange, like, how does it make you feel? Nothing, right? You say, okay, yes, you might tell me that my skin color is orange, but I know for a fact that my skin color is not blue. Right? It's like, for a fact, I know that it's not going to trigger anything in me. So if somebody comes and tells me that you have done this and you need to feel guilty, if I know in my core that what I've done, no, it's nothing to be ashamed of, or I'm not guilty. So it's that peace, that inner peace within me, in my core, then nothing can trigger me. But it is difficult to practice. So I know it's easy to say it, but I use this example of, no matter what other people say, if in our core we believe in ourselves, we believe in our idea, like, this is for everything. We believe that, what, I've made a mistake, I'm entitled to make a mistake. It happens to all of us. Like, show me one person who has never made a mistake. Show me one person who has never done anything. So when we are making mistakes, it also means that we are growing. It also means that we are learning something new. I'm respecting that, acknowledging that I'm a human, I make mistakes, and nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be guilty of. So when we feel that in our core, even if other people say it, it's not going to trigger us that much. And also, the boundaries that we have, like, this is important for us as human beings, to set healthy boundaries for people around us. So again, whether it's the loved ones, people that we respect, but having those boundaries is very important as well.
Absolutely. And I think when you say boundaries, um, it's we hear this a lot, right? Having boundaries, respecting boundaries, but we've never been taught how to have boundaries, because we've always been taught as little kids to share, to give, But when it comes to having boundaries, why is it important, in your opinion?
um It's something that it's not, I would say that it's not something that it's luxury of having boundaries. It's a must. It's like we all need to have boundaries for our own health, for our own well-being, for our own energy. Like however that you call it, we need to have certain boundaries. We need to know ourselves first. So I would say that the first step is us knowing ourselves. For us, when I talked about shifting the attention from external to internal, like the first step is for me and Mona and getting comfortable with myself and what are conversations that I have in my own head, like being comfortable in my own skin, no matter what has happened, no matter what. That's like, this is me, this is who I am, this is my life, and I'm going to take care of my energy. And then having certain boundaries. The boundaries are the how much boundaries we have depending on the relationship that we have with the other person is also different. Like with my partner is different than with my parents, for example, with my sister, with my friends, with our community. But knowing the first step is like, okay, what is acceptable and what is not. What are my values? So I want to again shift the focus from the external and other people not respecting our boundaries. Is, do I know my own like, do I know myself well enough? Do I know what are the things that are important to me? Do I know my own values? Do I know the non-negotiables? So a lot of times we feel that our boundaries are not being respected because we have not set it, because we don't even know what those boundaries are. So I would say that the first step for me always is to understand what it is my responsibility to take care of my energy. If it's going to the gym, non negotiable. No matter what is happening, that is something that I need to do in my day. If I don't have that awareness that that 1 hour of exercise helps me in my energy, I can't set that boundaries around, doing a simple thing. I'm using a very, very simple exercise. Being able to communicate without, like, clearly, without feeling guilty, saying no more often, but with love. So knowing saying no doesn't have to always be with anger, like with love. Thank you for your offer, thank you for your suggestion, I'm not able to do that. Going to dinners, going for to coffee with friends, anything, like simple things. If you see that we can't do it, being able to say no with grace and with love is one of the most important practices as well.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. And saying no without feeling the guilt. I mean, why feel guilty if you know that this something is not going to work in your favor, it's going to actually take away from your energy, then you're doing yourself good by saying no, and there is nothing wrong in doing good for yourself.
Absolutely. And
So
there's a saying that those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. So it's a very simple thing to practice, because people who love you, people who understand you, people, again, communicating it clearly, knowing, like, first step, knowing yourself, knowing what matters to you, knowing what helps you. And then those who love you, they will respect that. And those who don't respect that, then they are not necessarily the best people to have in your life.
and what I've realized is, as you grow, also the people who will walk with you change over a period, because sometimes, because you're changing, or because your journey is changing, not everyone who started out with you will walk with you right up until the end. Like for instance, even in this conversation, for that matter, maybe some of you have stayed right from the beginning until now, and I really, really deeply thank you for that. But maybe sometimes there's the vibe isn't there, or they just didn't feel the connect, or there was something else that they needed to look for, and they dropped off. And similarly, even when it comes to success journeys, sometimes people will stay with you, and sometimes people will go on a journey of their own, and that's okay. That's okay, because everyone has their own journey, and everyone has their own milestones and pace even. So there's no reason to kind of fret over that, or to chase after people who might have kind of gone a different way, perhaps.
Absolutely. um, for those who believe in the concept of energy in a more spiritual way, so I'm going to share with this with you. And one lesson that I have for everyone, which I practice, is that in any conversation, take the ones that serve you and leave the rest. So sometimes, like, we are listening to a book, to a conversation, to a podcast, and then the person says one thing that we can't relate to, and then we say, okay, none of the rest makes sense as well. So in any kind of conversation, take, like when I talk to a coach, when I listen to a podcast, take the things that serve you, and you don't have to agree with everything 100%, and then leave the rest because they don't align with you, and that's absolutely fine as well. These are the things, like the things that I'm talking about, again, they're personal experiences. It might not necessarily make sense to everyone, and that's fine as well. Take the parts that help you with the energy. Something that, again, in 2015, I practiced a lot of things. 2014 for me was the year of doing, the year of accomplishments. I went to London to go to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, and Tony's energy, like you feel on top of the world, and there's lots of doing and lots of practicing and investing in my own energy. I climbed Kilimanjaro, like there was a lot of achievements and doing. And 2015 was the opposite. Like it was a year of, I would say, focusing on my spiritual energy, focusing on acceptance, focusing on, I sometimes felt that like I was in the middle of a fire burning. So it was that bad. It was like, and it's not something that everyone could see from outside. So you have to look a certain way, feel a certain way, which I've learned to be more vulnerable as well, to share more often as well. But maybe in 2015 it was more difficult to do that. But it was a year that I had to learn a lot of things about spirituality and about energy. So I also started a energy healing journey. And something that my energy healer told me, which was very interesting, was when you invest in your own energy, and that's the reason you shift the focus from external to internal. When you're vibrating at a different frequency, the other people around you, they may or may not stay, and you cannot do anything about it. Like some people will leave your life and be okay with that, and new people will enter your life and be okay with that as well. So when we invest, again, one of the most important things is invest in, instead of trying to change other people, instead of trying to make it like try to fix them, something that we all do, like we try to fix others. Instead of trying to fix others, focus in yourself, in your own energy. If they change along the way and this journey with you, they will stay in your life. If not, they will leave. And this is something that when you become aware of it, I had to do a homeopathy session with one of the specialists here for a complete different reason. Like it was a health reason that I did that. After taking the remedies, I realized some people left my life. And like it's so interesting when you become aware of it, when you just become aware of certain shifts that happen in your life energetically. You get aligned with different experiences, with different people. And it's just, as I said, I don't have personally any psychic powers to witness them, but I experience them in my life for sure.
Yep. And Mana, I love what you said about, it's interesting when you observe, because it is interesting when you observe. It's about putting out that intention
Mm.
and then staying honest with it, and trusting that intention. Because very often we set a goal, and we're a little skeptical about it on the inside, and then we wonder why are things not coming together. The moment you set a goal and then kind of let it go, and say, okay, I'm setting this goal and I'm leaving it for the universe to manifest, I'm leaving for the resources to show up. It's beautiful how the right people walk into your life. It's beautiful how you tend to have you're at the right place at the right time in the right conversation, and something clicks and things come together. So yes, I do agree
which is
with you.
which is a great way to talk about the next layer, which is spiritual energy. That one of the
Yes.
practices is letting go. Again, these are all the things that we are learning while living on this beautiful planet of Earth. One of the lessons is letting go. And that is more of a spiritual practice, acceptance, letting go. And it doesn't mean, like with the law of attraction, the part that I can't align with personally is like you want something, and then they don't talk about the action part. So for me, it's like you have to take the action, you have to do what needs to be done, but let go of the result. Because
Yeah.
the better thing, like the result, when you let go of that result, when you don't try to force the result, things happen which are beyond your imagination. And I have experienced this many times in my life, to 100% believe in that. So with the law of attraction, is first is clarity. And at Mompreneurs Tribe, our community, we started having vision boards on a quarterly basis, and that is the reason. It's all part of the manifestation, and part of having that clarity. So step number one is like having that clarity of, okay, what is that goal, or what is it that I want to have, the next step is knowing the action and the roadmap and the steps that you need to take. Destination might not necessarily be exactly as you envisioned it. It might be even better, and letting go of that result is the most important thing.
So yes, and Mona, if you remember my SMILE strategy, L stands for let things go, and E is energize the possibilities. And when it was created, I didn't really kind of put too much thought into it. It was more like a downloaded message that I received. I was like, okay, I need to write my script. Please give me something to work with. And then the smile came upon me, and I didn't think much of it. I went, I delivered, and I came back. But when I started doing workshops around the smile in different countries to different kinds of audiences, I realized that it so beautifully kind of fits one into the other, one step into the other. And L is the one that globally everybody struggles with. So, and I'm not surprised that spirituality is right at top of the of your pyramid, because yes, letting go is so difficult. You know, whether it's letting go of fears, letting go of past failures, letting go of labels, letting go of hurt, anger, forgiveness even. So it's even that form of letting go is something that people struggle throughout the world, no matter who they are. So yeah, that's something I've observed.
Absolutely.
So speaking of letting go, I do know you have something to share with our listeners as a thank you for staying until the end. So what have you brought for our listeners?
We have a free guide, Rukaya, which I put together. It's a couple of pages of my own experiences to find that balance in my life. So it's both the personal as well as business. It's more focused on self mastery, I would say. So it's an 8 point guide, and you can share the link with them. They can go to the mompreneuracademy.com. We have a couple of resources there. But for this specific guide, you can also share the link that we have sent you earlier with them, and they can download it. It's a free guide. We also have the membership for our community of mom entrepreneurs. For those who are interested, again, you can get in touch with Rukaya or get in touch with me. We'll tell you more about that as well. The most important thing is that there are many resources out there, so it is our responsibility to, especially with the help of digital, there's so many coaches, there's so many communities, there's so many guides out there, and it makes it a lot more accessible to learn and grow. And this is the one that we created for our community and for your community.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mana. Um, all right. I know you're a mom, you're also a businesswoman. What are your thoughts on work life balance? Before we close, knowing that we're getting into the last 10 minutes of the conversation. So, what are your thoughts on work life balance?
I know a lot of people, they don't like the word work-life balance because they say that like there's no such a thing as balance. For me, because I have my own business, it's much easier to say this, but I know that for people who are in corporate, it's a little more difficult to practice. But for me, there's no such a thing as work and life. It's like everything that I'm doing. This is my life, and I choose to work, and I choose to focus on myself and do the things. So for me, the most important thing is identifying my values. That is the first step. So some of my top values are family, well-being, and growth, and my business is in that growth part, and freedom. So and also peace is one of my values, like peace and harmony. And I need to make sure that I have all of these covered. I can't focus on my growth as in business only and then compromise on another value, which is well-being or family or peace. Like this is something that is important to me. It's very important to identify your values, and then during the day, okay, we say we have 24 hours. What are the things I can do on a daily basis to make sure that I'm respecting all of the values? And at my podcast, and always I say that you can have it all, you can't
Yes.
do it all. Also, that is important, knowing that yes, I can. And we define having it all, it's exactly that peace that we have internally with where we are while we are growing and while we are achieving other goals as well. So having it all doesn't mean that we have everything perfectly, not at all. It means I accept myself 100% with all of my flaws, with all of the things that I'm working on at the moment, I have the clarity of what it is that I want to have in the future. And every single day, I'm taking the steps towards those goals. And that is what how we define having it all. So for me, work life balance, do I have that balance? I do feel the balance in my life, that harmony, because it is one of my values. And the way, but does it mean that I have everything perfectly? Not at all. So it's again, for me, that work life balance is a feeling. I
Hmm.
feel that inner fulfillment, that I am respecting the values that I have and the goals that I have in my life without trying to do them all perfectly.
Hmm. And I think this is now becoming my favorite quote to share with every guest, every expert who comes on board. Because even last week I was sharing with this Ron, and I said the concept of perfection is flawed, right? Because when people are chasing perfection, they never get to it, because there is no such thing as perfection. What might look like it's perfect for me might not look like it's perfect to you. So getting to know that, yes, anything that, in my understanding, anything that is too perfect is also not real. It's There's a little bit of fake in there. And again, that again takes away the perfection from that so-called perfect thing. I don't know, this is how I see it.
I am I am a perfectionist personally. So I would say that this is something I'm very like consciously trying to not do things or look at things from that perfectionism lens. So I know exactly how it feels, and I do appreciate, like for example, a good art that I look at, or something that I feel, okay, this looks perfect. So there is something to appreciate about having something, looking at it perfectly. But sometimes there's even an art that it doesn't look perfect, but it gives you that. So for me, everything perfect, not perfect, is a feeling. How does it make you feel? How do I feel every single day in my life, with all the chaos that is happening, with all the challenges that are happening? What are those feelings that I have? And for me, that feeling is a lot more important than trying to be perfect all the time.
Beautiful. I love that. I think connecting perfection to a feeling. Wow, I never thought of it that way. Love it. Thank you, Bana. Um, Brilliant. Earlier today, I spoke on always show up as best as you can. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Such a beautiful question. Okay, after perfectionism. So for me, that inner feeling comes when I know that I've done my best, regardless of the result. Like, regardless of what it is that is happening. Again, if it's a piece of art, if it's in my business, if knowing that, that feeling that we talked about, is know that this is the best that I could do. And regardless of the result, whether it's perfect or not, I'm happy with that. So being, again, the best version of myself, it's hard to do it all the time. So that best version of myself on a day which is, let's say, super hot, like yesterday, might be 20% of my productivity compared to other days. But that was the best I could do that day. So not every day is the same as well. If I hear bad news and I don't do anything, the only thing I do is I meditate and I take care of myself that day. I haven't done anything else, or I just go for a walk. That is the best that I could do that day. So every day will be different as well. And knowing that, depending on the situation, like we migrated to Canada, it was a huge change for us. It was a huge shift for us. So the first year, the expectations that I have, or the best that I could do in my business, will be different than the days that I had my personal life all settled. So having that peace of mind, and knowing that I'm doing my best in this moment, is the most important thing.
Beautiful. So, as we close the conversation, what would you like to, I don't know, what would be your closing comments?
Um, Life is a beautiful journey, and it's a journey. It's not just a destination. Regardless of what we achieve in life, there will be always something else that we want to have in our life. So I would say the most important thing is enjoy the journey, and the journey of self mastery, which is never ending. And about the pyramid of energy, one thing I wanted to share is that our physical and our mental energy, over time, they decrease if we don't take care of them. And our emotional and spiritual energy, they actually get strengthened over time as well. So as we are aging, it's very important that consciously we take care of our physical as well as our mental energy. So any tips that we have, many tips, we shared many tips for both of the layers, do them consciously. And then our emotional and spiritual energy over time, they strengthen because we experience different things. And the last thing I want to say is enjoy the journey and invest in yourself and your energy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mona, for your time. It has definitely been amazing speaking
My
to you,
pleasure.
something that I was really looking forward to. Promising conversation and absolutely beautifully delivered. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be sharing the links to the giveaways at the end of soon after we go offline. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe. I just jumped straight into the conversation and I absolutely forgot, because I think when we're talking about energy, we're talking about raising vibrations and investing in ourselves. Nothing else just seems to matter. So, as a thank you, as a courtesy, if you'd like just to hit the subscribe button, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rakaya. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.